Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. This is Chuck Guglielmo, and it's a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community, and we have a very interesting person here. Everybody knows Michael Bartone. Michael, welcome to Chuck Guglielmo Show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
Michael, of course, we've got a big event coming up. I've got a lot of things to talk to you about, but let's start with this big one here. The Ashtabula County Basketball Foundation, which is going to be commencing on April 2nd. How many years now for the ACBF?
This will be the 15th annual.
15 years. Of course, it was co-founded by Nick Irochi and Mike Jocelyn. Talk to us a little bit about those guys and how they got this started.
You know, I'll tell you, it's funny because, you know, obviously I work at Jocelyn Landis Insurance, and so I see Mike quite a bit. At one of our last board meetings for the ACBF, we were talking about getting everything we have since 2003, once it was started, and getting it organized onto computer, like electronic media files and whatnot. So I've been going through, and I went back all the way to 2003, the file for that, and out comes a napkin that has just the idea between Nick and Mike on what they wanted to do, and it's come a long way, and it's such a success, and everybody looks forward to it every year.
But they have done such a great job, and now they kind of, the last couple of years, they kind of stay in the background and let other people take over. So this is a Sunday afternoon event. It's about a 3-hour event. Starts at 2:30. Why don't you run down the entire schedule? I know it starts at 2:30 with like a social.
Right. Well, you know, before we talk about that, we were just talking about how they've kind of stepped aside a little bit and let everybody else kind of, you know, and I just want to take this moment to just talk and recognize our board of directors. And some of these people you may know.
I'll let you know.
Our president, Brad Ellis.
Oh, great coach, now radio broadcaster for the high school sports.
And we have Melody Nowakowski.
Andover. Athletic director,
she's our vice president.
Yeah.
John Higgins is our secretary.
Know him. Ashtabula guy.
Of course, I'm the executive administrator of the ACBF.
I don't know you, Michael.
We have Phil Garsha. He's a charter director.
Who doesn't know Philip?
Chris Larrick, a legend.
Yes. He's the one that writes all the stories of the Star Beacon.
Yes. And we have Doug Laddick. He's a director.
One I'm not sure I know.
Bob Hitchcock.
Yep. Oh, the big basketball name in the county.
Absolutely.
His grandson, the great player for the Jefferson Falcons.
Yeah. Bob we just talked about Bob. Al Goodwin from Edgewood. Becky Olmstead. Don Zappatelli from Conneaut. We have Ed Armstrong, Andy Jahola, Ralph Turk, Tim Miser, and Steve Cray, which Steve Cray just did a wonderful job putting together that ACBF classic basketball game last week at Edgewood. Well, when this airs, it'll be 2 weeks it had been. But so great directors, hardworking, and they really step up.
That's quite a fascinating crew.
It is. It is. It's great to work with them. But talking a little bit about the program itself, yeah, like you mentioned, it starts at 2:30 on Sunday, April 2nd. Tickets are available by calling Jocelyn Landis Insurance at 440-593-6880. We encourage people to get their tickets ahead of time because, as you know, you've been there, and it does fill up.
Oh, it's packed.
Right now, we're at about 225 tickets sold out of 300, so, you know, not many more to go.
So getting them that day at the door, it's kind of risky.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have any tickets available, I mean, obviously if it's not, you know, a lot of people coming in, if it's just a handful of people, you know, we'll find a seat for them. If we don't have tickets available, we'll, you know, if it's standing room only, it's standing room only. That's a good thing. But it does start at 2:30 on Sunday, April 2nd, and that's when the doors open, the social gathering, and then the dinner and the program starts right at 3. So as you're eating, we do start the dinner to try to, because in years past, I think it went on for like 4, maybe even 5 hours, and they've tried to cut it down to where, you know, it's just around maybe 2.5 to 3 hours at most. And we just we go from, you know, basically the biggest thing is the introduction of the Hall of Fame members, of which I'm sure we'll talk about that, and and coaches, and the girls coach of the year, boys coach of the year, players of the year, boys and girls. So just a lot of recognition for our local high school athletes, as well as the ones that have been in the past, the legends, and honoring them for the Hall of Fame.
Of course, Crash Miller is the MC of the event, the great radio announcer who we had on our show here in the past.
Dave Miller, he always does a great job for us and always is looking forward to doing it every year for us.
Talk about some of the awards that are given out this day.
Well, the awards we have, we have the introduction of the all-county first team that we recognize. And then we have the introduction of the coaches and the Hall of Fame nominees. And then we have the awards, which will have the Edward Jones David Flott Scholarship. And that's presented by David Flott, Edward Jones out of Ashtabula. We have the ACBF Coaches and Referees Award. We have the ACBF Alumni Achievement Award, the Officials Appreciation Award, and the Girls and Boys Coaches of the Year, the Boys and Girls Players of the Year, and that's pretty much about it for the awards.
We don't want to let out any secrets, Michael, but do we know, who votes on this?
The board
All those
of
guys you
trustees.
just mentioned vote. And do they vote that day or do they do it before that? Aren't you allowed to? We're not allowed to say, that's fine too.
To my knowledge, we do know the award winners.
I bet I know them too.
I don't know. I personally do not know that information yet. But because to get the trophies done and that kind of stuff, get the awards made for those award recipients.
They've got their hands full this year on trying to pick a boys player of the year in the county. I could think of two right off the hand.
Sure.
That you can't go wrong with no matter which one you pick.
Well, we could talk about the candidates.
Yes, go ahead.
We can talk about our 2017 ACBF Player of the Year candidates. Now, these are candidates. From Edgewood, for girls, we have Kaylee Sloan. And for boys, we have Marcus Ernst. For Conneaut, we have Tully Taylor for the girls and Eric Heinonen for the boys. Jefferson, Hannah Root for the girls and Sam Hitchcock for the boys. We have Geneva Haley Peoples for the girls and Nick Stoltz for the boys. Pommic-Tooming Valley, we have Madison Hurst and Morgan Babick. At Lakeside, we have Carly Apont and Isaiah Mathers. And Grand Valley, we have Cassandra Gallo and Cody Osborne. And rounding out with St. John, we have Madison Parody and Antonio Tony Masucci.
That's quite a cast. Now, who picks those people? Is it that particular school?
It's based on a lot of factors. Coaches submit from each school. The coaches will submit the player that they feel that they represents that team, and then we get it, and the board of directors will hash it out and decide.
Now, all the coaches pick, or just that school's coach?
Just that school's coach will
So
pick.
the Conneaut players were picked by Pasadena and Telvac.
Correct. Yes.
I gotcha.
Yep, and that's how that works. And then the board will hash it out and who they feel, and then they'll go. It's quite a process. They go over stats and believe it or not, a lot of the Hall of Fame or the ACBF board members do go out to a lot of the games, especially Brad Ellis. He's pretty much at a lot of the games. But a lot of our board members do go to the games and do observe and see these players firsthand. So, which is good.
Is this a secret ballot that they do?
No, it's just an open discussion, and then it's just kind of like based on like a roll call vote.
So on that day when we're getting ready, like even Crash Miller would have no idea until he opens up that envelope. Is that correct?
Right. Pretty much. Yeah, that's how it works.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And as you know, Michael, you've been to them as well. They can get very emotional, some of these speeches.
Yes.
I mean, you can walk out of there with tears.
It really is. Especially with the Hall of Famers, who recap their time.
Some of them are, you can also laugh yourself through it because some are so funny, some are so emotional. That's what's good about this event. It's not just one-sided.
And we just mentioned the Player of the Year candidates. I think right now would be a good time to talk about the Hall of Fame inductees that we have for 2017. I think you've already seen, most of them and probably know quite a few of them. But, from Ashtabula, we have Eleanor Young, a graduate of 1984. We have Carlos Apont, 1985, graduate of Ashtabula. From Conneaut, we have Denny Sabo.
1975, maybe?
That's correct.
What a ball hawking guard he was.
Yes. And Rob Furl.
Yes, my age.
1972.
Yes.
From Edgewood, we have Steve Carlson, 1986. And from Geneva, we're excited about having sisters. We have Nera DeJesus Skipper, 1999, graduate of Geneva, and Rhea DeJesus Green.
Oh, man, what a player she was on the floor.
2002 Geneva. So we're excited about getting them inducted the same year. We have Brian Turner, 1989, graduate of Grand Valley. We have Paul Erickson, 1964, graduate of Harbor. Ken Moose Taft, 1963, graduate of Jefferson. Shelley Burns, 1995, graduate of Jefferson. Alan Miller, 1980, graduate of Pontotoc Valley. And Ron Weaver as a contributor. Every year they try to throw someone in there who wasn't a basketball player but contributed a lot to the sport, be it a referee. This year, from what I was told, Ron Weaver helped a lot with organizing tournaments and that kind of thing. So we're recognizing Ron Weaver as a contributor to the ACBF.
What are the credentials and the requirements to get selected as a Hall of Famer?
You have to be, there's a 15-year waiting period. So
After graduation?
After graduation. So, a lot of people have come to us and said, hey, so-and-so should be in there. Well, the criteria is 15 years. And, you have to be somewhat of a standout, or you were like, I guess, they don't base it just on who was the star at that time. A lot of it is based on, how many points they scored and, their stats. But if they were a true team leader, maybe the player didn't have a lot of points, but he rallied the team. So, there's other factors that go into it, but the biggest criteria is a 15-year period has to go by for them to get in.
On the Hall of Fame candidates, Michael, is there does every school have to have a representative?
We like for every school to have a representative. Sometimes in years past it hasn't worked out that way. Sometimes I think in the past I've noticed there's been 3 from a school, but they try to get an equal amount from each school. Yeah.
Who's the caterer this year?
That would be Phil. Phil's catering.
Okay. Has it always been Phil?
It has always been. He does a wonderful job for us, and everybody really enjoys his food. And
how can it not be Phil? Because
right.
With this relationship with the schools,
the schools, and with the ACBF. He's been with us from the beginning, and has always definitely done a good job for us.
Mm-hmm. How many people? You said 225 tickets have been sold.
And usually, it's around.
How many can you put in that building?
I think the limit there is 400, but that's really crowding them in. So we try to cap it at 300. I think the most they ever had, from what I was told and what I saw in some of the past records, when they had Joe Tate there. I guess it was. I got to interview Joe Tate. It was standing room only. People just came just to see Joe Tate. Mm-hmm. And I guess at that point they had over 400 people there. But we want to try to make it comfortable, and it's usually we keep it around 300.
I think we've got some serious people to look at this year. They left their hands full as far as boys player of the year, like I said, boys coach of the year. I could think of 2 or 3 candidates right there.
Well, as the coaches, the Ashtabula County coaches, we have Edgewood, we have the girls, Paul Stoffen, and the boys, we have John Bowler, who we know what kind of a job he did this year.
The AAC.
Conneaut, we have Tony Passanen, who's been on your show, and Tim Talbaka, both have been on your show. Geneva, Nancy Barbo for the girls. Last year's girls basketball coach of the year.
Yes.
And then the boys coach.
She could be every year. That's how good
Yeah.
our teams are.
The boys coach Shane Klug for Geneva, or I think it's Clugh, Klug or Klug. Lakeside girls, William is Isco, I believe it is, and Rob Pisano for the boys. Grand Valley has Kim Trisket for the girls and Justin Turk for the boys. Jefferson, we have Steve Losey for the girls and Steve French, who both have been on your show, I believe.
Yes, and they're coming back.
Pontotoning, we have Jeff Compin and Ryan Shantz for the boys. And St. John, we have Nick Irochi, not Ashtabula County Prosecutor Nick Irochi. That would be Nicholas Irochi. And we have Nick Irochi for the girls and Curtis Turner for St. John boys.
Have you ever had the opportunity to sit down and talk with the Nick Irochi of St. John?
I have not,
He
but I
is
hear
quite
he's
a conversation.
Yeah,
I'm dying to get him on the show.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy.
Well, speaking of getting people on your show, I think you're going to be at the banquet.
Yes.
And it was quite the treat to have you there last year doing interviews, and we hope you're going to do that again this year.
I am going to be doing that again this year. You have me set up someplace.
Yeah, we'll get you.
And
We'll
get
you
them all
taken-
lined
we'll
up
get
for
you
me.
taken
Like
care of.
they're quick hitters, and they're like 1 minute interviews, so you can get everybody in. It takes
Right.
up about a half an hour,
Mhm.
which is a normal show time.
Yeah, between interviewing the Hall of Fame inductees and the Player of the Year, the Coach of the Year, you know.
Now, see, that's what I'm going for. To do I love interviewing those star players
Yeah.
and coaches and some of the Hall of Fame. Anxious to see. I can't wait to see Denny Sable. I haven't seen him since he played high school
And
basketball.
it's funny because I've talked to most of these Hall of Fame inductees, and they're coming from all over. Every year they come from all over. We know last year Bill Fales accepted for his daughter, Kayanne, who couldn't make it in from
And
Washington
how
State.
emotional was Bill.
Oh, that
Talking
was,
about emotional speeches.
it was a great speech. It really brought tears to my eyes. I mean, it just was really something. And but like Denny Sabo, he's coming from
California, isn't it?
Arizona.
I know somewhere out there.
And I can't remember which one, but we have someone coming from Florida. I know one of the DeJesus is coming from South or North Carolina. So they're coming in from all over, and their families have been calling for tickets, and it's just been, it's been exciting, building up for
Absolutely.
it as we get closer. I mean, when this airs, I believe it would be next week.
It's going to start Wednesday this week.
Oh, Wednesday this
Yeah.
week? Okay. Well, as of the air, I mean, right now, today, as we shoot this, we're 13 days away. So when this airs on Wednesday, we're going to be, 11 days away. So it's right around the corner.
What's the big highlight for you on this day?
Well,
I know with you running around like that, it probably all is. But is there one thing that you enjoy the most?
meeting all the people, meeting all the kids, all the Hall of Famers and their families. Of course, I'm a people person, so I really enjoy meeting and hearing their stories.
Isn't that fun?
The next thing I would say probably the food, but no, I mean the biggest thing is just meeting all the families and the people for sure.
And how about Chris Larrick? Let's give him some credit. Good job he does for you guys.
He
Retired sports writer.
I don't know where we'd be without him. Let's just say that. I mean, he does a wonderful job on writing those stories. And just the process and what he does. I mean, he starts in January, interviewing, calling, or emailing, and we had a heck of a time trying to locate Denny Sabo. He was one of the last ones that we had to track down. We finally, with some help from Mark Mirando, was able to track him down.
I can't wait to see, because he's very shy in high school. So it'd be interesting to hear him give his little speech.
Yeah.
See what he has to say.
It's going to be an exciting time, that's for sure.
It sure is, and it all is on April 2nd, beginning at 2:30 in the afternoon. And you really need to come a little bit way before that time in order to get a parking space over there.
You do. You really do. You want to get there early. Of course, I mean, anybody in the community is always welcome. I mean, you don't have to have someone that, it's not just because it's not your family. I mean, it's just a great Sunday afternoon event to just go and watch. And, recognize our current local
Absolutely.
high school athletes, and our Hall of
Absolutely.
Famers.
Now, in the past, Michael, Marty Landon was our musical background guy.
He will be, yes.
And
will
he
be
does
back.
a great job. Of course, everybody knows Marty Landon.
Yeah.
He's got that distinguished voice.
Yeah. He'll be there
Also
for
a guest on Around the Town with Chuck in the
Yeah,
past.
yeah, he will be there doing the same duties as he always does.
Who are some of the other people that help out here, getting as far as setting the tables up? How about all that? Those
Well, the County Human Resource Center really does a good job.
Oh, they do
I mean,
that. Okay.
we've been going back to them, for all 15 years, and because they do a great job for us. The staff there, they help with the setup of tables and chairs and putting up the banners and just getting everything done. As far as like the setup of, we go the morning of and we put the table coverings on and the centerpieces on the tables and put all the, tables that are reserved for who's coming. It's about 2 or 3 hours worth of work on Sunday morning that we have to do, but we have plenty of help and gets done and it's just showtime.
Who will deliver the prayer before meal?
We have, for prayer this year, we have the invocation we've done by Deacon Richard Johnson from Our Lady of Peace out of Ashtabula.
Oh, okay.
Every year we try to use someone different. We've had Father Miller from Corpus Christi. We've had Father Ray Thomas. So we kind of circulate and try to use everybody.
I think we've had the Citizen of the Year, Tim Krause, on before too, as well, right?
We have, yes. Yeah.
Well, this is exciting, Michael, and we can't wait for it, April 2nd, but that's not all we're going to talk about. We had a couple other things we want to talk about, Michael. Of course, this year, Conneaut High School started play in District 10. I know you very familiar with District 10. How do you think the Spartans fit in this first year?
For football, I think they fit in really well. Obviously, they won the District 10 co-championship with Titusville. It should be interesting this year, Conneaut losing some players. I personally think that they can probably do it again. I would hope so anyway. Our winter sports, our basketball, one thing I know about these District 10 teams, they're good in every sport, they really are, but I think their strong points are really basketball. When it comes
Absolutely, boys and girls.
boys and girls. We didn't play Girard. We did play Girard, didn't we?
Yes.
We played Girard.
Boys did, not the girls.
And they're normally pretty good, both boys and girls. Obviously, we know the girls played Villa, and Villa this weekend will be going for their state championship game. So, and they were state champions last year. So, tough competition when it comes to basketball over there. Not too sure about spring sports, but personally, I think it's a great fit with them being in the D10. What will happen in a couple years? Will an Ashtabula County League form? We'd all like to see that, but
Boy, wouldn't that be nice?
Who knows? But it's been nice to play some different teams. I've always thought deep down. I mean, when my brother played back in the '90s and the '80s, Connie used to play Erie Tech, McDowell, and Strong Vincent in those teams as non-conference games, and they were always good. So it's not. I've always thought that Connie should play Girard and Fairview or Northwestern because we're so close. So who knows what will happen after a couple years.
Covering the basketball games with Matt Jarvie on 1360 Wild this year, what I've noticed, Michael, basketball-wise, in Pennsylvania, the scores are lower, the defense is much better, and the officiating, they don't call that many fouls like they do here in Ashtabula County.
Wow.
That's what I've taken from that. And cheerleaders, you don't see them in Pennsylvania very often. That's kind of strange. I could never figure that out. I could never get an answer from everybody.
And that's almost like I think you made some comparisons to football. Like the bands never traveled.
The Pennsylvania bands never came to Conneaut. I think somebody told me that they usually have other commitments on their Friday nights.
Yeah, and I'm still friends with some administrators and teachers over at Girard, and when Conneaut came with the band, they said they never saw or heard a band like that before, and I mean, Conneaut really does. They're really starting to build the band back up, and it's really exciting to listen to the Conneaut High School marching band now.
What's exciting about that band is its fancy footwork.
It is, and that's another thing. They were surprised. A lot of the schools that I have friends with back in Pennsylvania were surprised that Conneaut went to, even the furthest away game they went to, and that's it's great when the band's there. They help support the team. And
Well, Tim Neal, the high school principal, was telling us that the Pennsylvania schools all thought Conneaut was very, very well mannered and very good sportsmanship. He told us that. So that was interesting. We'll see how year 2 goes in District 10. I mean, it was okay. I missed the county flavor. I really did miss the county flavor, but just 1 year there, so you got to give it at least another year and see how it goes.
Well, we ended the year with a little county flavor. It didn't go our way though.
No, it did
with
not.
Grand Valley.
Yeah, that was. I didn't know if Conneaut would win that game or not, but I didn't expect that big of a defeat.
Yeah, and we were all pulling because Conneaut was all they needed to do was win that game to get in the playoffs for the first time since 1985. And just couldn't pull it off, and it was a heartbreaker. It really was a heartbreaker.
Something else, Mike, I want to talk to you about, because we're getting closer to the summers, and you're the master of festivals here in the city. The July 4th festival, do you have anything to do with that coming up this year?
I have in the past, and I told Marty Lannon that, if he needed any help, I'm there for him. I'm trying to back off a little bit on a lot because now with the Basketball Foundation and some other things that I've gotten myself into, like the Board of Tourism, I've just been recently appointed to, and D-Day is starting to really consume because they've put me into a lot more of an important role with D-Day. Kind of trying to step back a little bit from some of these other things that I've been doing and getting someone else to step up and fill in. So,
what made you get an interest in festivals?
I'd have to say it was my grandma Liz.
With the fried dough?
With the fried dough at Cabrini years and
Nobody
years
made
and
it
years
like
ago.
her.
I've always had an interest in it, and it started for me back in 1998 when Cabrini's festivals were they weren't what they used to be, and I asked to take it over, and it's when we brought back the rides and just like the old style flavor of it. And from there, then I was asked by then city manager at the time was Tim Hansley to take over the Conneaut 4th of July Festival, and I did that for about 6 years. So,
in your eyes, Michael, what makes a good festival?
yeah, a good, clean, reputable ride company, good food, clean. Just I always took the philosophy, clean park, clean, clean, just a clean environment. Almost making it like Disneyland. Always having someone going around picking up trash, emptying trash. So it's you feel like you are at Disney. Although it's not, but you just give people that sense of it's a pride thing, I guess.
How hard was it to get workers?
Very hard, very hard. The holiday weekend, not so much with the church festival, because you know how it is. Everybody in the parish just wants to lend a hand and do something. So we had a lot. Obviously, your wife Pat did the elephant ear fried doughs for I don't know how many years.
You know who taught her.
And so but it's hard to get volunteers for events and spend a large amount of time to give to volunteer.
Another thing you were real busy at least last year, I know, was the D-Day event. Will you be involved in that again this year?
Very much so, yes.
You were running around.
Yeah,
like real crazy last year.
Bill Wiley has kind of put me in charge of the parking all around town, all the way out to the Gateway Plaza.
All around the town, get it? Around the town.
Out to CW, the high school parking lot, and I work with all the different parking lot managers, if you will. Tim Neal takes care of the high school. Lou Shiley usually does Gateway Plaza, and I can't, for the life of me, can't think of who does CW. And then we have over at the old old PNC Dock Company property, we have parking over there, which is mainly just handicapped and veteran parking there. this event's gotten so big. It's grown so much that
It's a great thing for Conneaut.
it is a great thing for Conneaut, and they're going to add so many new things this year on Friday, and just different things that are going to be going on. But it's just amazing when you know, as the event's going on, people are like, well, you're missing it. I'm like, I want to be the furthest away from that part. I don't mind going out to Gateway and checking on the parking out there. You know, it starts at like 8 o'clock in the morning out there, and it's full within an hour. Oh, you're talking about 800 cars that'll park out there alone.
How about the job Lori does organizing everything?
I mean, the whole organizational structure of the D-Day event. I mean, from Lori to Jen Pelagi with the finances, to Bill Wiley, to Betsy Bayshore, who comes in from out of town, and her husband. They just do a tremendous job of getting the volunteers, and then, you know, they get me, and then I get volunteers, and I have to have so many for each parking lot. And obviously, we use Lakeshore Primary as it's strictly for the reenactor parking, and that fills up. I'm sure you've been by it and you saw how many cars we can park there at Lakeshore Primary. So,
what do you estimate some of the crowds that have been down there?
I've heard that it has been as much as 40,000 people down there.
Wow.
Now that's over 2 days. That's not just one day.
Right, but
that's
still
over 2 days. But yeah, and you know, when you look at it, it's
they
quite
come
amazing.
from all over the country,
over.
of the world, really.
People have flown in from Germany and
Yeah.
France, and
It's amazing.
and I see license plates from all over, Alabama, Arizona, Nevada, California. I mean, really, I think there's someone from represented from every 50 states here. I've seen Alaska. Yeah, I mean, I've seen them all over.
One last thing I want to talk to you, Michael, is about you are a great Facebook page designer. You've done mine. I think you do Corpus Christi Parish. I think you do Orlando Brothers Golden Dawn.
That one I do not do.
You do not do.
I do not.
Oh,
do
I
that
thought
one.
you did that one.
No.
What are some of the other ones you do?
Oh boy, I mean,
what a job he does with the Facebook pages.
I do visit Conneaut, Ohio. Obviously, I do around the town with Chuck. Haunt on William Street, Conneaut Township Park, Conneaut Port Authority, Biscotti's Restaurant.
Wow.
Our Lady of Peace out of Ashtabula.
Where's this time coming from?
You know, to start them and to create them, it's not that difficult. I mean, it's the maintaining of them. Obviously, like with yours, you know, after we film this, Cindy takes the thumb drive up to City Hall where Regis, then we'll upload it onto the memory drive, and then it comes back to me, and then I upload it to YouTube, and then get it to your Facebook, and then sometimes lately I've been, because you also take care of your own too, I just assist with it, but lately I've been sharing on your page the ACBF stuff, and then you always post your own scores. You know, it's really helpful when you post the local high school sports scores, Cavs updates.
Well, I got mad at the Cavs the other day, so I didn't report on them because they were resting players, and I'm very much against that. I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm against it. So I said, I'm resting. I'm not reporting on the Cavs today.
But, you know, right now, in the day and age that we live in, social media is where it's at. It really is. Because a lot of people don't get Conneaut cable access television, which does a great job of airing your programs on channels.
Do a great job.
What is it? 6 and 19?
6 and 19.
6 and 19. And Regis does a great job of getting that programming and the program lineup
and how he maps everything out.
Right.
It's like you're in a different time slot. Every show has like a different time slot.
I think one time I asked him, I says, now will Around Town be on a certain, because he tries to give everybody equal airtime. It's only fair. Cindy does a great job.
Cindy does an outstanding job
with the filming and the cable advisory board. You know, they're really trying to make some strides here on doing things with cable access television programming. But you know, not a lot of people do get it. So by doing either live Facebook, which is big now, or uploading it to YouTube and then putting it on your Facebook page, it reaches the world. You know, how many times your son Paul in Rochester, hey, I was able to catch your show because it was on YouTube or or Facebook. So that's where it's at: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You know, that if you want to get the word out or people to see things, that's where it's at. You know, so.
Well, Michael, again, the Ashtabula County Basketball Foundation coming up on Sunday, April 2nd. That's just a week from this Sunday. Looks like it'll be another sellout. I know you'll do a great job. I'm looking forward to being there and doing some interviews and, as you say, eating dinner and then listening to those emotional speeches. And again, tell people how they can get their tickets.
The best way is to call Jocelyn Landis Insurance at 440-593-6880.
So none of the high schools have these tickets?
None of the high schools were given tickets to have their athletic boosters purchase a table. That way some of the players and their parents don't have to buy a ticket. They can just come and just come to the event, you know, per the athletic booster. But there was no tickets for sale to the general public at the schools, just by getting them at our office, or if we do have some left at the door. So that's why we encourage you to call and reserve your tickets. So you don't have to pay. We can reserve them at the door, and then you can pay at the door. But some of the tickets that we've already have been selling, they have been just sending us checks in the mail, and then we send the tickets right out to them.
Looking forward to it, Michael. And thanks again for coming on Around the Town with Chuck.
Well, thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing you there.
Michael Bartone, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck. Have a good night, everybody.